Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day number 5, the last group before the semifinals. And the first group before then consists of Iron Poet, Rob Maverick, Tim McCall, and Hawk Twa. Now, Hawk Twa is Blue Line Racing, who's been doing extremely well in recent tournaments, and it seems they are doing no different here, finishing in first with a 3.04, just off the time of the speed record, which is a 3.03, set and held in day 2 with Dusty Miles and Flip. But Hawk Twa gets that first win, and it was a pretty simple one for them. But they did get close to flying off the track, I believe, so they still want to be careful. And here they go into the second race, already about a car's length ahead, if not more, and they cross the finish line again with very little contention from the others. Finishing actually slightly slower this time. If anyone's going to break that record right now, it would be Hawk Twa. Blue Line Racing is known for their incredible speeds and the vehicles they create. And so far, no exception is made here. In fact, they got so thrilled, they almost crossed the finish line going backwards. Now for the third race, Hawk Twa just needs one more. Starting in one of the middle lanes, they go down the hill, they go into the straightaway, the flat part, and they get that third win, so Hawk Twa is advancing. Finishing 3.05 round. The other 3 races still have a shot to stop Hawk Twa from winning every race. So far, everyone who's won a race in this tournament hasn't lost one yet, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens when they all start going up against each other. But there's the win that Hawk Twa needed to advance. Now they're just trying to keep anyone else from passing them in the last one. Once again in one of the middle lanes, and they take off, I would say running, but they're on wheels, so that's hard to say, but they get that 4th win. They will also stay undefeated, and they're pretty consistent throughout when it comes to how fast they get to the finish line. So I believe there's only one more group before the semifinals, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we will also be starting in this video. So as that next group finishes up, do not go away, because we will jump right into the semifinals, or at least the start of it. But here we go into group number 2. Uncle Elvis, Old Sarge, Nomo, and Issa Khan. I'm pretty sure I said that correctly this time. I apologize for saying Issa Khan before. But Issa Khan does get that first win without much trouble, finishing 3.1. Yeah, as I've been starting to say recently, finishing at 3.10 or under can give you a breath of fresh air, as that's where some of the fastest races have been sitting. But they do have the likes of Hawk Twa, Dusty Miles, and Flip to go up against as well, along with some of the other racers that have gotten awfully close to being the fastest. Into race number 2, Issa Khan is actually falling behind for just a moment, but as they got to the bottom of the slope, they took off and they managed to overtake everybody else and get win number 2. And because of that slower start, they did have a slower time, but look how close these races are finishing with each other. Everyone seems to have finished within about 0.2 of a second when it comes to first to last. But Issa Khan is already 2 races and 2 wins in. I believe Issa Khan is the last racer to have an opportunity to be undefeated. So if Issa Khan, I'm sorry if I said Issa again, but if Issa Khan pulls this off, I believe that means every racer going into the semifinals will have not lost at all. So I'm sure it will be fierce competition as we begin that phase of the tournament. there goes Isa Khan with a 3.12. They've been finishing around 3.10 each time. If they can go slightly quicker, I'm sure that'll make them a little bit more comfortable going into the next phase of the tournament, which they will be doing since they have 3 consecutive wins. Now, can anyone like Uncle Elvis stop them? Sometimes Uncle Elvis starts out in front of Isa, but Isa managed to get 4 wins regardless. So I believe that means every racer progressing has not lost a race yet, which means that there's about to be a lot of people dethroned. And as we get into the semifinals, everybody, what I believe the way it'll work is it'll be 3 racers in each group and 3 races between them. But now we have our entire roster, but we will waste no time and jump immediately into the semifinals. This will be part 1, part 2 will come later. And the first group going in the semifinals consists of Brian Oldford, Killer Kowalski, and MDG. Who will stay undefeated and which 2 will be dethroned? Killer Kowalski is out by a nose so far, and it looks like his lead is expanding and he gets the win. So MDG and Brian Oldford are no longer undefeated, while Killer Kowalski is. I believe there's just 2 races left instead of the usual 3, since there's only 3 racers. But congrats to Killer Kowalski for pulling up the fastest time in this particular group. Now they just got to remain consistent if they want to keep moving forward. There they go again. Killer Kowalski is side by side with MDG, but he pulls away and he manages to get win number 2. And that puts him in a much, much better position. Meanwhile, these other 2 are struggling to make something happen here. Although considering there's only 3 races this time, it's going to be a lot harder. That being said, they all finished within about 0.07 of a second of each other. So it's still very, very close. Well, here we go, the final race with this group. Killer Kowalski trying to stay undefeated. Can he do it? It looks like he will. Yes, he will. 3 wins for Killer Kowalski. He stays undefeated as he moves on even further in this tournament. And I believe we'll have one more group in the semifinals go today. So we'll see who joins Killer Kowalski in the finals. Valiant effort by all racers all around. And now for the second group, I believe this will be the final one for today. And it has Sneaky Bob, Nick Devers, and Arlo. Who will stay undefeated? It looks like it might be Arlo, but here comes Sneaky Bob trying to overtake him, but he could not do it. Arlo remains undefeated as he gets the first win of these 3, finishing at a very familiar time of 3.10. But they all finish within 0.04 of a second of each other. So I believe anything could still potentially happen here. Sometimes all you need is a slow start and that can disrupt everything. But a fantastic finish by Arlo. Can they do it again? He will start in lane 1 this time. Will that make a difference? It doesn't seem like too much. They all are spaced out relatively evenly. And Arlo actually starts going off the rails quite literally there. But he finishes at 3.10 once more. Yeah, I figured as we started getting into the semifinals, and especially when we get to the finals, some of these races will be a lot closer. Because we'll truly see who stands out above the rest. But Arlo is in a very good position right now, hoping to continue to stay undefeated just like Killer Kowalski. And there they go. Arlo is actually slightly behind. I think he might have been able to get his nose out in front of Sneaky Bob at just the right moment. See what the times were. It's saying 3.11 for both Arlo and Sneaky Bob. Let's see what this will mean. What will the judges decide to do? Will they give them both the win? If so, Arlo will move on and technically stay undefeated. And they decide, yes, they both get the win, but Arlo has more points, so he will be the one advancing alongside Killer Kowalski. Thank you all so much for watching. See you for the next part of the semifinals.